to the Geriatric Goth, where the nights are long, the capes are longer, and the horror is eternal. Today, we will unlock the dusty casket of 1964's Crypt of the Vampire, also known as the Crypt of Terror. This is a 1964 Italian-Spanish production starring Christopher Lee. This time Christopher's not playing a vampire, he's playing a concerned father. This is a really loose adaptation of Carnilla, predating the later Vampire Lovers from Hammer. Not quite as graphic, but still featuring the sapphic overtones of the original novella. So, let's get started. Set in a gloomy, candlelit castle that looks like it was built entirely from fog and suspicion, Crypt of the Vampire follows Count Ludwig Karnstein, played by Christopher Lee, as he tries to protect his daughter Laura from a centuries-old family curse. Laura begins experiencing terrifying visions, dreamlike apparitions, and mysterious deaths start piling up. There's an ancient ancestor who may or may not have been a witch or a vampire, or both, and a newly arrived companion who's suspiciously intense. The film unravels with that classic Euro horror dream, beautiful, surreal, and barely coherent. But while the plot stumbles like a ghost in heels, the atmosphere is thick with gothic goodness, arched corridors, crypts draped in cobwebs, and candelabra that defy fire codes. Let's talk about Christopher Lee. This came out a few years after Horror of Dracula, known as Dracula in England, but before he redefined Dracula again in Dracula, Prince of Darkness. Here, Lee plays the part surprisingly subdued, more of a concerned father than anything else. He's definitely not a terrifying figure, but he is still a commanding presence. Let's face it, between the look, the height, and the voice, Christopher Lee always was a commanding presence on the screen. It's a quieter but fascinating role. Here, he's a concerned father trying to save his daughter from the curse of his ancestors, and at the same time, maybe keep her from exploring her same-sex attraction? Who knows? It's a different role for Lee, but as usual, he really brings it. Christopher Lee, no matter what, was able to deliver fascinating performances in every film he appeared in, whether or not that film deserved his presence. Crypt of the Vampire is textbook Eurogothic, lavish sets, eerie lighting, and a heavy dose of atmosphere, but it drags. Scenes linger too long and tension fizzles out before it can build. You could make a pot of tea in the time it takes these characters to walk across a hallway. Still, if you're into mood over momentum, there's a lot to love. The production design is gorgeous. Elaborate staircases, dusty crypts, and that dreamlike ambiance that Italian horror exceeds at. One scene involving a beggar, his dog, and a hand of glory is nightmare-inducing. I first saw this film as a young child, and the imagery from this film haunted me for years. There's also a subtle queerness in the relationship between Laura and her companion, Luba, hinting at Carnilla's original sapphic subtext, although it never really fully blooms, unlike Hammer's The Vampire Lover. It's style over substance, but what style it is. Crypt of the Vampire is not scary by today's standard, but it is a fog-drenched, slow-burning trip through Eurotrash Gothic horror. It's not a perfect film by any means, and it definitely is not a match for the later version of Carnilla, The Vampire Lovers. But it is a worthy film and well worth watching. If not for anything else, for Christopher Lee and for the poor peddler who ends up hanging in a bell tower. I will give this 4 out of 5 coffins on the Geriatric Goth scale. Definitely check it out. Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've seen this movie or if there are other Christopher Lee Gothic horror movies that you'd like to see covered. Maybe Hound of the Baskervilles. I think that qualifies as a Gothic. So let me know. Let me know what you think. If you are able, and you want to, you can contribute to the Geriatric Goth through the Buy Me a Coffee app, which is linked in the description below. You can watch another Geriatric Goth, and there will be a suggestion for which one you might want to watch, either here or here. I'm not sure where that will show up. I think it's on this side. Anyway, go ahead and check that out. If all else fails, join me next time for another adventure in Gothic horror. Thank you.